Hey y'all, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is MOGIBETH, and for those of y'all who are new here, I own a six-figure reselling business selling primarily women's clothing on places like Poshmark and eBay. And in today's video, we are talking about 10 bread and butter brands that are selling really quickly for me this year in 2022. If you've had a month like I've had this June, you might some days be wondering, is anything selling on any of these platforms? Because summer slowdown, inflation woes, gas prices, they've all hit my business and my sales pretty hard. So I decided to go over my sales and take a look at what is selling quickly and what bread and butter brands are selling well this year so that I can prime my brain and make sure I'm on the lookout for those when I go sourcing, both at the bins and at the thrift stores. So today I'm going over 10 brands, and I will say that last summer I did another video like this, which I will link up on the screen, and if you didn't watch it, I would highly recommend you watch it because almost everything on that list still holds true for me today. But I wanted to do 10 unique brands this video and share how many that I've sold this year, what my average sales price of those brands has been, and how quickly they're selling for me. And I also wanted to share one example of each brand that kind of demonstrates what I'm looking for within that brand. So before we jump into the video, if you wouldn't mind, give this video a big old thumbs up and consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. I'm putting out new videos every Monday and Thursday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Everything to do with thrifting and reselling. So if you're into that type of content, I'd really appreciate it. Okay, so let's jump into brand number one. And I've actually sorted these brands from how many I've sold from least to most. So, okay, the first brand on this list is one that I talked about in my newsletter. And if you haven't subscribed to my newsletter, make sure to do so at mogibeth.com. I send out a reselling newsletter every Monday morning. But this brand is actually a menswear brand that I just learned about this year, and it is Buck Mason. The founders of Buck Mason actually went on Shark Tank and turned down like $200 and something thousand offer from one of the investors, which I thought was interesting. But I have found Buck Mason first at Goodwill Thrift, and then at thrift store again, and then at the bins. And each time that I've listed it, it has sold super quick for me. So again, I've had 3 Buck Mason sales this year with an average sales price of $39, and an average days until sold is 1 day. It is definitely a Bolo bread and butter brand. One noteworthy performing piece were these pair of Maverick Slim jeans that were in a size 33. I think I had them listed for $70, and they sold for $45 in 1 day. The average sales price of this brand is not the highest of anything on the list, but it is the fastest one to sell. So I would definitely recommend picking it up because it goes quick. I mean, even t-shirts, I found 2 t-shirts at the bins, lotted them up, and they sold within a day. Okay, the next on this list is a brand that really I kind of just started picking up more this year as well, and that is Prana. Prana is a brand I picked up a lot, like in the very beginning when I started reselling like 5 years ago, and then stopped picking it up, and then recently I've been picking up more and more. So I've sold 4 Prana pieces this year with an average sales price of $47.50. On average, it takes 30 days to sell, so it takes about a month, but that's not bad in my book. And one noteworthy performing piece, this is a piece that sold really quickly and something that I'm definitely on the lookout for now, are these Prana Halle 2 outdoor pants. I picked up 2 of these at the bins in different sizes, and the ones in the size 16 sold for $44 after just 2 days. So I'm definitely still experimenting with Prana, trying to figure out what sells, what doesn't sell. I find that tops and tanks probably don't sell as quickly, but those Halle pants, both of them sold really fast. I found a corduroy jacket at the bins that took a little while to sell, but it sold for full price. And then I've recently sold a dress that I also found at the bins, and I sold that over on eBay for, I think it was full price or very close to full price. So I have really enjoyed picking up Prana and selling it, and I would say probably it's safer to assume that larger sizes do better in Prana, but I really haven't experimented enough to make that conclusion. So if you've sold a lot of Prana, let me know in the comments down below if you think that's true. Okay, number 3 on the list is one that I talk about a lot on this channel, and it is Betabrand. I have sold in total 9 items by Betabrand this year with an average sales price of $35.27. And on average, it takes only 9 days for Betabrand to sell, which is great in my book. A good example of a great Betabrand sale is this pair of Betabrand dress yoga pants, which is what Betabrand is known for. These were the classic straight leg pants in black in a size extra large, and they sold for $36 after just 5 days. I will say that in Betabrand, larger sizes do tend to sell faster than smaller ones. And I do pick up all colorways. I recently picked up a pair of green Betabrand pants. The yoga trousers, which is what they're known for. They're known for basically these yoga pants that you can wear to work. That's what sells really quickly. However, I did pick up a new Attack Betabrand blouse that eventually did sell for really good money. And I picked up a pair of men's Betabrand jeans that did sell. So I've actually been pretty happy with the performance of different Betabrand pieces that I have picked up. So I'm going to continue to experiment with things outside of just the dress yoga pants as I come across them. Now, bread and butter brands are brands you probably already know about, but you definitely know about the next one on this list, and that is number 4, J. Crew. I think I included J. Crew on the brands I'm no longer picking up anymore video, which is funny because it really is both. There are certain styles of J. Crew that sell really well for me, and then there's some I will not touch with a 10-foot pole. Older J. Crew, I don't pick it up. And then things like button downs, pants, etc. by J. Crew, I won't pick that up as well. And I talk about what I will pick up in that video, but the categories that I really love to get by J. Crew are dresses, especially sundresses. Some jeans can do well, and blazers and outerwear do especially well by J. Crew. I have a bunch of J. Crew from years past, and so my average days till sold for this brand, and one more on this list actually, is quite elevated, but there are some pieces that actually have sold really quickly for me. So I've sold 10 pieces by J. Crew this year with an average sales price of $49.85, which is great. And I think that really goes to show that if you're selective with J. Crew, you can actually have a fairly high average sales price with it. However, my average days still sold is 111. And that's really because there are 2 or 3 on that list that I just had forever. For instance, I had this pair of new Tag J. Crew pants. I think I actually got these at Crossroads for 385 days. They were size 00. So it took a long while for those to sell, but they're definitely examples of items that have done well. So one noteworthy piece is this J. Crew Sophie open front sweater blazer that I thrifted, and it was a size large, and it sold after only 3 days for $76.49 on eBay, and that includes shipping. Okay, so another thing that I wanted to make a note of is the different tags that J. Crew has used over the years. They've used a bunch of different ones. In the past, they have had so many different ones. I'll just pop up one example of an older tag here. There are basically only 2 tags that I'll pick up. One is their slightly older tag, which is a cursive font, which I'll pop up here. But actually, their newest tag is not a cursive font, and so I'll pop that up as well. For a while, I thought they were still using the cursive font, but I think they are no longer. If I'm wrong about that, correct me in the comments down below, but I'm pretty sure they reverted back to this more kind of traditional J. Crew tag. It is slightly different than the older one though. Okay, so number 5 on the list is, I don't know if this is considered bread and butter, but it's definitely bread and butter for the Pacific Northwest, and that is Patagonia. I find Patagonia a lot at the bins. It's not always the most exciting pieces, but they always tend to sell well. So I have sold 11 pieces of Patagonia this year with an average sales price of $43.13 and average days till sold at 25 days, which again, I think is great. If you've been watching my channel, you might remember when I found a new tag Patagonia jumpsuit at the bins. I just actually recently sold that this week, but I wanted to show a more quintessential Patagonia sale for the noteworthy sale, and it was this Patagonia Better sweater vest. That was men's in a color gray and a size extra large. This is something that people wear a lot here and something that in Silicon Valley is worn a lot. It sold for $75 after only 33 days. And for Patagonia, I find that, of course, cinchillas and the better sweater fleeces, whether it's the vest or the long sleeve, do the best. They're going to go for a lot of money and usually sell fairly quickly. However, I pick up bottoms, I pick up shorts, I pick up skirts, I pick up pants, and those tend to do well too. So I would say, you know, when it comes to Patagonia, if you're getting it for the right price, you might as well just try it out, because that's what I've been doing and it has been working. Okay, the sixth brand on this list is Levi's, and I've sold 11 items of Levi's this year with an average sales price of $41.27 and an average days till sold of 85. So there are certain pieces by Levi's that will sell really quickly. There are certain pieces that sit a little bit longer for me. If I get Levi's in liquidation, it tends to sit a little bit longer because it tends to be kind of the skinny jeans or the jackets, which will sell, but typically not as quickly as their rigid denim pieces. And rigid denim means either 100% cotton or 98 or 99% cotton. It's no stretch denim. So a good example of a pair of Levi's that I thrifted and did really well was this pair of shorts by Levi's that were the high loose shorts in a size 28, and they sold for $65 in 14 days. And not all Levi shorts are going to do that well, but there are certain styles that are in high demand and they tend to be that rigid denim. When it comes to jeans, wedgie jeans, mom jeans, balloon jeans, 501s, those tend to do really, really well. And I don't really sell a lot of vintage Levi's, but there's definitely a market for that too. When I lived in Kansas, I actually did sell a lot of vintage Levi's, but now I really just stick to newer Levi's. And when I'm thrifting, I really try to stick to that rigid denim. Okay, number 7 on the list is one that I've been picking up a whole lot more this year, and that is Betabrand. I really like to source Betabrand, especially through online arbitrage, which I've talked about in my online arbitrage video. I'll link up my most recent online arbitrage haul on the screen. But I have sold 15 pairs of Betabrand jeans this year with an average sales price of $65.53, which is great. It's actually the highest one on this list, with an average days till sold of 21 days. Betabrand technically, I guess, is a designer brand, but it's one that I think across the country you can come across. And there are really 2 styles that I like to pick up by Betabrand. The first is the Natasha jean, which is this exposed button fly skinny jean. And the second is maternity jeans by Betabrand. And I have really come to learn more about what sells well with maternity as I've been pregnant. And if you're interested in learning more about maternity bolo brands, I did a video on that as well, which I will also link up on the screen. So a good example of a Betabrand pair of jeans selling well are these Betabrand Natasha Sky High skinny jeans in Bluebird wash. They sold on eBay for full price. It was $100 plus $7.99 shipping in 13 days. And actually, I will also pick up Betabrand men's jeans. That's something I've been experimenting with, and it's been doing fairly well. So if I come across that and they seem like a newer style at the thrift store at the bins, I tend to pick them up and list them. Okay, number 8 on the list is Anthropologie, and similar to J. Crew, this is going to have a very elevated average days till sold. I've done a video just on Anthropologie that I think was actually really helpful, and I still kind of follow the same rules that I talked about in that video. I might be running out of links I can put up on the screen, so if it's not there, it will be in the description down below. So I have sold 16 items by Anthropologie with an average sales price of $36.15 and an average days till sold of 292. So I've sold some things that I've had for quite some time, but the things that I've actually picked up this year have been selling really quickly. So I wanted to include Anthropologie on this list. And what's been doing especially well is dresses. I really kind of focus primarily on dresses when it comes to Anthropologie. For example, this Anthropologie sundry ruched midi dress that I thrifted did really well. It sold for $50 in 21 days. And the types of dresses that I really look for are maxi dresses, peasant style dresses, and really just anything that has some kind of intricate detail. I also try to look for only newer pieces. I really skip on anything that's older, and I go over what newer pieces are in that video. And I always check comps on both J.Crew and Anthropologie when I find it in the thrift store, because there's just so much of it out there. Some pieces do well, most don't. So it's just really important to check comps. Okay, number 9 on the list is figs, which I'm so surprised hasn't made it onto any of my other lists. I love selling figs. I have sold 16 different items of figs this year, all thrifted because I don't get that in liquidation or anywhere else. And my average sales price is $30.71 with an average days till sold of 28 days. If you're unfamiliar with figs, figs is a medical scrubs brand, so they make really high quality scrubs for nurses and doctors and so forth to wear to work. Typically you're going to sell figs like pants or tops in the $20 to $35 range. However, there are some pieces that can sell for more, especially jackets I have found do really well, and pieces that are no longer in production. So there are some pieces, some colors that figs just doesn't make anymore that some people are on the lookout for. So an example of a noteworthy sale that I've had by figs was this figs Bellary scrub jacket that sold for $64 in just 9 days. So that was a great piece. I think that's both a jacket and a piece that figs no longer makes anymore. So I kind of got lucky finding that one at the thrift store. All right, and that brings us to the last brand on this list, and that is Lululemon. Is Lululemon a bread and butter brand? I think so. At this point, at least it is up here, because I find it at the bins quite often. And I have sold 19 pieces of Lululemon this year with an average sales price of $51.85, which is wonderful. And not only that, the average days till sold is 13 days till sold. So Lululemon is just a really great reselling brand. Not everything by Lululemon will sell for that much or that quickly, especially tops. I tend to not pick up so much, but the categories I really like picking up by Lululemon are skirts and full-length leggings and jackets. And I especially find that within leggings, if you can find a solid print, those do the best. Of course, there are some rare pieces. There are Lululemon SeaWheeze pieces. SeaWheeze is a race that Lulu puts on every year, and they release a limited collection with each one of those races. And those pieces can be really rare and go for a lot of money. If you find a SeaWheeze piece, you'll know it because the logo will look like this. I'll pop it up on the screen. I haven't sold any of those this year, I don't think, but I have in the past. And of course, newer pieces are going to do really well as well. And so a good example of a great Lululemon sale that I had this year was this Lululemon Lost in Pace skirt. I sold this for $75 after only 7 days. I really like selling skirts and skirts by Lululemon. I find that they do really well. And I found them both at the bins and the thrift store. But anyways, that concludes the 10 bread and butter brands that are selling fast for me this year. Let me know in the comments down below what bread and butter brands are selling well for you. I'm super curious. I love reading y'all's comments, and they have been really helpful to me in the past. So yeah, let me know. And again, if you like this video, be sure to give it a big old thumbs up and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. If you want to receive notifications every time we put out a new video, hit the bell icon. But I hope this video was fun, helpful, or interesting to you in some way. And with that, I will see you in the next one. Okay, love y'all. Bye!